Right now, as you're watching this video, there exists a version of you that is abundantly wealthy. This isn't a metaphor or a motivational concept. This is a fundamental truth about the nature of reality itself. Your wealth exists right now, in this moment, in what we call the quantum field of infinite abundance. Understanding this isn't just philosophically interesting. It's practically essential. Because once you truly grasp where your wealth actually exists, you'll stop trying to create it and start simply accessing it. So what exactly is this quantum field of infinite abundance? Modern quantum physics has revealed something that ancient wisdom traditions have always known. Reality is far more fluid and consciousness dependent than our senses suggest. At the quantum level, all possibilities exist simultaneously in what physicists call the quantum field, a realm of pure potential where every possible version of your life exists right now. In this field, there's a version of you with the exact amount of wealth you desire. There's a version of you living in your dream home, driving your ideal car, enjoying complete financial freedom. There's a version of you who never worries about money because abundance is simply your natural state. These aren't future possibilities. They exist right now in the quantum field. Your role isn't to create wealth, it's to select which version of yourself you're going to experience. But how does this actually work in practice? Everything in existence operates on frequency. Your thoughts have a frequency. Your emotions have a frequency. And yes, wealth has a frequency. When you're tuned to the wealth frequency, you naturally attract and experience abundance. When you're tuned to the scarcity frequency, you experience lack and limitation. Think of it like a radio. All the radio stations are broadcasting simultaneously, but you only hear the one you're tuned to. Similarly, all possible financial realities are available simultaneously, but you only experience the one your consciousness is tuned to. The wealthy version of you isn't in the future. It's broadcasting right now on the wealth frequency. Your job is to tune in. Now, one of the biggest obstacles to accessing your wealth is what I call linear time thinking. What do I mean by this? Linear time thinking is the belief that wealth must be built step by step over time through gradual accumulation. This thinking keeps you trapped in the slow, difficult path of trying to create wealth from scratch. But consciousness operates outside of linear time. In consciousness, you can step directly into the wealthy version of yourself right now. When you do this, the external world then rearranges itself to match your new inner reality, bringing you the opportunities, resources, and circumstances that align with your wealth consciousness. This is why some people can go from broke to wealthy seemingly overnight, while others struggle for decades without significant progress. The difference isn't in their external strategies, it's in their ability to access and embody the wealth frequency. So where exactly does this parallel reality exist, where you're already wealthy? Let's explore this concept more deeply. In the quantum field, there exists a parallel reality where you made different choices, held different beliefs, and as a result, manifested abundant wealth. In this reality, you wake up each morning with complete financial security. You make decisions based on what you want, not what you can afford. Money flows to you through multiple streams, with apparent ease. You contribute generously to causes you care about. You live in beautiful surroundings that reflect your success. You feel worthy and deserving of all the abundance you enjoy. This parallel reality isn't fantasy. It's as real as your current reality. The only difference is that you're not currently experiencing it, because your consciousness isn't aligned with it. Your consciousness is the bridge between your current financial reality and the wealthy reality that already exists. When you shift your consciousness to match the wealthy version of yourself, you literally shift into that parallel reality. This isn't about pretending or visualizing. This is about recognizing that the wealthy you already exists and consciously choosing to embody that version of yourself. When you do this with sufficient depth and conviction, your external circumstances must shift to match. Think of it like changing channels on a television. The channel you were watching doesn't disappear when you change channels. it continues broadcasting. You've simply tuned into a different signal. Similarly, when you shift to wealth consciousness, you're not creating a new reality. You're tuning into a reality that already exists. The key to accessing your wealthy parallel self is to stop thinking of wealth as something you need to achieve and start experiencing it as something you already are in another dimension of reality. Here's a powerful exercise to begin this process. Close your eyes and imagine that somewhere in the quantum field, there's a version of you that has already achieved all the wealth you desire. This version of you has the same personality, the same core essence, but they made different assumptions about money and therefore manifested different results. Now, instead of trying to become this wealthy version of yourself, simply recognize that you are this version of yourself, just experiencing a different frequency of reality. Feel into what it would be like to be that version of you right now. How would you feel? How would you move through the world? What would your inner dialogue sound like? How would you make decisions? Don't try to imagine the external details. Focus on the inner experience of being the wealthy version of yourself. This isn't visualization. This is recognition. You're recognizing and connecting with a version of yourself that already exists. Now, here's something that might seem revolutionary. Your wealth consciousness is completely independent of your current bank balance. Most people make the mistake of trying to feel wealthy after they have money, but this approach has it backwards. Wealth consciousness comes first, then the money follows. Your bank balance is simply a historical record of your past consciousness. It has no power to determine your future wealth unless you give it that power. There's always a time lag between a shift in consciousness and its manifestation in physical reality. This time lag serves an important purpose. It prevents reality from changing so rapidly that it becomes chaotic and unpredictable. However, this time lag often confuses people who are new to consciousness-based wealth creation. They assume wealth consciousness and then look immediately at their bank account for confirmation. When they don't see instant results, they conclude that the approach doesn't work and return to scarcity consciousness. But here's what's actually happening. When you assume wealth consciousness, you set in motion a reorganization of circumstances that will lead to the manifestation of wealth. This reorganization might involve new opportunities appearing in your life, meeting people who can help you, getting ideas for income generation, developing new skills or insights, changes in your decision-making patterns, and shifts in how others perceive and respond to you. All of these changes begin immediately when you assume wealth consciousness, but they take time to culminate in visible financial results. The period between assuming wealth consciousness and seeing it manifest in your bank account is what we call the bridge period. This is the most crucial time in the entire manifestation process, because it's when your commitment to your new consciousness is tested. During the bridge period, your external circumstances might still reflect your old consciousness. Your bills are still the same. Your income might not have changed yet, and you might face financial challenges that seem to contradict your new wealth consciousness. This is completely normal and expected. Your external world is catching up to your internal shift. The key is to maintain your wealth consciousness regardless of what your current circumstances suggest. Remember, your current circumstances are the result of your past consciousness. Your wealth consciousness is creating your future circumstances. Don't let the past override the future. Here's the secret. You can feel genuinely wealthy right now, even if your bank account doesn't reflect it yet. In fact, feeling wealthy now is what creates the fact of wealth later. Wealth consciousness isn't about the amount of money you have. It's about your relationship with abundance itself. When you truly embody wealth consciousness, you feel abundant and secure regardless of your current financial situation. You make decisions from a place of plenty rather than scarcity. You're generous with what you have, knowing more is always available. You expect good things to happen financially. You feel worthy of abundance and prosperity. You see opportunities where others see obstacles. These internal states are available to you right now, regardless of your bank balance. And when you consistently embody these states, your external financial reality must eventually match them. Now, what's the scientific basis for all of this? Is there actual research supporting consciousness-created abundance? While the concept of consciousness creating reality might seem mystical, it's actually supported by cutting-edge scientific research in quantum physics, neuroscience, and consciousness studies. Let me explain how quantum physics supports this. Quantum physics has demonstrated that consciousness plays a fundamental role in determining reality. The famous observer effect shows that the act of observation actually influences what is observed. Subatomic particles exist in a state of probability until they're observed, at which point they collapse into a definite state. This suggests that consciousness doesn't just observe reality, it participates in creating reality. When you observe your life from wealth consciousness rather than scarcity consciousness, you're literally influencing the quantum field to manifest experiences that match your observation. Neuroscience research has shown that our beliefs literally rewire our brains, creating new neural pathways that influence how we perceive and interact with the world. When you hold wealth consciousness beliefs, you're creating neural pathways that notice opportunities that align with abundance, generate ideas for creating value and income, recognize resources that were previously invisible, make decisions that support financial growth, and build relationships with people who can help you prosper. Your brain becomes a wealth-seeking, opportunity-recognizing instrument when it's programmed with abundance consciousness. Your brain has a filtering system called the reticular activating system, or RAS, that determines what information you notice and what you ignore. When you assume wealth consciousness, you're programming this system to notice business opportunities, investment possibilities, people who can help you succeed, resources for creating income, and signs that abundance is flowing to you. Someone with scarcity consciousness has their reticular activating system programmed to notice lack, problems, obstacles, and evidence that money is hard to come by. They literally live in a different perceptual world, even though they're in the same physical environment. There's research on collective consciousness and wealth too. The research into morphic resonance suggests that when you embody a particular state of consciousness, you tap into a collective field of similar consciousness. When you assume wealth consciousness, you're connecting with the collective field of all wealthy individuals throughout history. This isn't just metaphysical speculation. You can feel this connection when you truly embody wealth consciousness. You gain access to insights, wisdom, and intuitive guidance that seems to come from beyond your individual mind. Now that you understand where your wealth exists and how consciousness creates reality, the question becomes, how do you consistently live from the wealth frequency? First, let me describe what the wealth frequency actually feels like. The wealth frequency has a distinctive feeling to it. It's characterized by ease and flow. Things feel effortless rather than forced. There's expectancy. You expect good things to happen financially. You feel security, fundamentally safe, and provided for. There's generosity. You want to give and share with others. You experience gratitude, appreciating the abundance that already exists in your life. There's playfulness. Money feels fun, rather than serious and stressful. And worthiness. You feel deserving of abundance and prosperity. When you're consistently operating from these feelings, you're tuned to the wealth frequency. Money, opportunities, and resources naturally flow toward this frequency. Now, what does the scarcity frequency feel like in comparison? By contrast, the scarcity frequency feels like struggle and force. Everything feels difficult and requires excessive effort. There's worry. You're constantly concerned about not having enough. You feel insecurity, vulnerable, and at risk financially. There's hoarding. You want to hold on to what you have out of fear. You experience resentment, feeling bitter about others' success or your lack thereof. Everything feels serious. Money feels heavy and stressful. And there's the feeling of unworthiness. You don't feel deserving of abundance. When you're operating from these feelings, you're tuned to the scarcity frequency, which can only attract more experiences of lack and limitation. The key to accessing your wealth is learning to consciously shift from the scarcity frequency to the wealth frequency. Here are some immediate techniques. First, Try the assumption shift. Instead of thinking I need money, assume money flows to me easily. Feel the difference between these two states. Second, use the gratitude amplifier. Focus on abundance that already exists in your life. Health, relationships, opportunities, even basic needs being met. Gratitude for existing abundance tunes you to the frequency for more abundance. Third, embody the wealthy identity. Ask yourself, how would I feel right now if I were already wealthy? Then embody that feeling regardless of your current circumstances. Fourth, practice the generous act. Do something generous, even if small. Generosity can only come from abundance consciousness and immediately shifts you to the wealth frequency. Now let me make something crystal clear for you. Your wealth exists right now. It's not in the future. It's not dependent on external circumstances changing, and it's not something you need to earn or deserve. Your wealth exists in the quantum field of infinite abundance. Your wealthy self exists in a parallel reality. The wealth frequency is broadcasting right now, waiting for you to tune in. The only thing standing between you and the experience of wealth is your willingness to accept that it already exists and to embody the consciousness that matches it. In our next episode, we'll explore the specific principles of assumption and how to apply them to wealth creation. You'll learn the exact difference between hoping for money and assuming wealth, and why this distinction makes all the difference in your financial results. But for now, simply rest in this knowing. Somewhere in the quantum field, you are already abundantly wealthy. Your job isn't to create this wealth. It's to accept it, embody it, and allow it to manifest in your experience. The wealth frequency is calling. In the comments below, declare I'm ready to tune into my money frequency. Remember, your wealth exists now, your wealthy self is real, and the frequency is available to you right now.